Keane.
And Israel approving a plan to capture all of Gaza. The Associated Press says the IDF is tapping tens of thousands of reserves in order to do so. Meanwhile, the Jewish state is promising a stern response to yesterday's missile attack from Yemen on the port near Tel Aviv.
Hey guys, what you're about to see is huge. Israel has just approved a bold, full-scale plan to capture all of Gaza. This isn't a tactical raid, it's a total shift in strategy, and it comes just after a missile from Yemen slammed near Tel Aviv's airport. The Iron Dome did not catch it. It got through. Guys, this is bigger than just the Middle East. It's a wake-up call for the West, for America. We're going to break this down, and you're going to hear from General Jack Keane, a senior strategic analyst on Fox News, who lays it all out.
We were just talking in the break how there's always something going on in the world. But in this part of the world, Israel continues to fight on multiple fronts. They still have hostages that they're trying to deal with. Capturing Gaza in the midst of all of this with the Houthis attacking their airport. How do you see it, sir?
Yeah, well, what's really taking place here, certainly, is General Zamir came in on March the 5th, and he presented a new plan to the Prime Minister. Credit the previous chief of the Israeli Defense Forces for killing, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2/3, 75% of the Hamas fighters. But there's still several thousand left. And they did that in the past by conducting raids and then moving on to another area where there are Hamas fighters. General Zamir's plan is to take territory and then kill the Hamas or capture them in that territory and depose them from any future ability to have political control of Gaza. That's the end state. They recognize full well if they're not able to do that, it'd be impossible for them to leave Gaza and turn it over to some international force that would be willing to provide security for a new Palestinian-like government. All of that, obviously, is still circumspect, and no decisions have been made. But from a military perspective, what is happening here is to finish off Hamas once and for all, so they cannot have any political ability to control Gaza in the future.
What did you make of that attack on the airport? And I just want to show for everybody here, Israel has an Iron Dome. And we can put it up here on the screen for everybody to see how it works. And obviously, you know this very well, which is this is a way to intercept these missiles that are coming through. But one got through and hit the airport.
Yeah, they have three systems. The Iron Dome defense is rockets against rockets and missiles. And then the mid-course is David Sling. And that's kind of mid-course missiles, some cruise missiles. And then the most advanced ballistic missiles are defeated by Arrow, and also our THAAD missile system, which the United States has given Israel. Those two systems fail. The Arrow defense system and the THAAD missile system, and this missile was able to penetrate the airport. And it also, a similar missile, penetrated Tel Aviv in December. So obviously the Israelis are doing an autopsy on this. What happened? Why did they have failure? But remember, we take it for granted that if a missile is flying, we can knock it down, because we've seen that technology time and time again. But there's always misses. And we don't really account for the misses very much unless there's casualties as a result of it.
Right, because it's also been so successful.
Here, but nobody killed.
It has been so successful.
Yeah,
there is a
absolutely.
rendering of a possible Golden Dome system here in the United States that we can show for everybody. This would be kind of a similar concept, if you can pull that up and everybody can see. This would be the idea of, some sort of protection. Do you like this idea?
Well, first of all, it's desirable to have a new concept to deal with where technology is going. We can deal with point defenses, what essentially Israel is dealing with there. In other words, defend Washington, D.C., which we're currently doing, defending the West Coast against the North Korean missile attack, ballistic missile attack, which we're currently doing. We can do more of that on the ground in the United States. Not cheap, obviously. But the real threat is coming from hypersonic glide missiles. In the summer of 21, China launched what's called, apologize for the term, fractional orbital bombardment system, a hypersonic missile that was launched off the coast of China, circumnavigated the globe in the southern hemisphere and came back to China. While we knew it launched, we could not track any of it. So being we can't track it, we can't kill it. And advanced cruise missiles are getting to the point where their range is increasing, and likely they may have the capability to do much the same. So given that technology, how do we defend against that? The answer is in space. The point defense system that I just described prior cannot do that. So you need sensors in space, you need interceptors in space. That means weapons on satellites to do all of that. And you need a lot of them because you're dealing with the globe. You're not just dealing with IBM missile coming from Russia or China in the northern hemisphere. These things can circumnavigate the globe. And when they get back into the Earth's orbit, they're moving at 5 times the speed of sound, which is very difficult to defeat even in the Earth's orbit. So, desirable, the big question mark, is it feasible? We've got to do the research and analysis to make certain of that before we pour a lot of money at it. Listen, this is a presidential priority, and it has worthiness and desirability. But we got to be careful how far we go before we dump a lot of money on it. We're already going to put $25 billion on it to get us started in this. It could cost hundreds, but we've got to make certain that it is feasible. And I think the administration obviously is aware of that. Secretary Hegseth in the Defense Department is aware of that. I talked to officials about this last week on this very subject. So, yes, this is a desirable program. It's in concept and theory phase in terms of its fulfillment. And we've got to do the research and development to make sure that it's feasible.
Guys, if you are tired of the mainstream media dancing around the truth, do me a big favor, hit that like button. It helps push this video to more people who need to hear what's really going on. So let's be absolutely clear here. Israel is surrounded on all sides. And instead of backing down, they're making the boldest move we've seen in this conflict yet, taking the entire Gaza Strip. Not just clearing it, not just neutralizing it, taking it and holding it. Why? Because Hamas isn't gone. According to General Keane, even after wiping out 75% of their fighters, Hamas still has enough manpower to remain a political threat. Israel's plan now is to kill or capture what's left and prevent Hamas from ever controlling Gaza again. This isn't a military raid. This is an occupation plan with an end game. And while they're doing that, they're being attacked from the skies by Yemen's Houthis, backed by Iran. A missile made it through Israel's Iron Dome, landed near Ben Gurion Airport. That's not just a lucky shot. That's a breach of one of the most advanced defense systems on Earth. And if that doesn't alarm you, it should. Because if Israel's top-tier tech can't stop everything, what does that say about us? Now, here's where it gets really real. General Keane laid it out. The Iron Dome can handle smaller rockets. David's sling picks off middle-range threats. And the U.S. gave Israel advanced systems like Arrow and THAAD for ballistic missile defense. But you know what? They failed. This wasn't some rusty rocket. This was a serious strike. And it got through. And it's not the first one. A similar missile got through in December. These systems are impressive, but they're not perfect. And Keane warns, we're entering an era where hypersonic missiles and orbital weapons change everything. He talked about China launching a missile that circled the globe in the southern hemisphere, undetected, guys. And if we can't track it, we can't stop it. These new missiles come in at dude, that blew my mind when I heard that. 5 times the speed of sound. And once they re-enter the atmosphere, they're nearly impossible to intercept. So what's the solution? Weapons in space. Let that sink in, guys, because that is where we're headed. That's not sci-fi anymore. That's now a military necessity. Keane said we need interceptors and sensors on satellites to protect this country, not just from Russia or China in the northern hemisphere, from any direction. Any direction, because they could come in from any side. The question is, will we get serious before it's too late? Because right now we've got leaders playing politics with defense budgets, while the enemies of the West are building missiles that can't be stopped. Look, Israel is showing the world what resolve looks like. They're taking the fight to their enemies. Meanwhile, America's at risk of falling behind. Do we even realize what's coming? Now, guys, I want to hear from you. Should Israel take full control of Gaza? Let me know down in the comments. Are we doing enough here in America to defend ourselves from these next generation threats? And do you trust our leadership to put national security above political theater? And I'm not just talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about the whole group, guys, all of Washington. Drop a comment down below, guys. Let's have that conversation. If you're not subscribed, now's the time, guys. I break down the news from a conservative perspective without apology. Subscribe, hit that bell, consider becoming a member to help support this channel, guys, and the truth that we're trying to get out. We're just getting started. Let's go.